Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to episode number 125 for July the 27th, 2021. And I hope everybody's had a great week, and I hope you made something nice. And let's move right into what's behind me. Now, you've seen this one before. You've seen the fabric, you've seen the panel, and you've seen it together. But now it is completely layered, quilted, and bound. It is done. So the crap is done. And yes, I call it the crappy quilt for obvious reasons. But I did quilt it. Now, I did free motion quilting inside each one of these little outhouse panels, and I just did curvy lines, meandering kind of a thing through that, and it turned out pretty good. I'm getting much better at that. So I think it's time now to press the envelope or push the envelope or whatever the expression is, you know what I mean, and get into something a little bit more difficult to do. Of course, I fell back on my walking foot in here. I did wavy lines again and straight lines, and I did those not because it was easier, but I did it because it just, to me, that's what it called for in those large border spaces. The back of this, I'll just get up here and show you. Now, I would have liked to have done the back in the toilet paper fabric that's on the front in here. I don't know if you can see that or not. However, I did not have enough of that, so I went into my stash and I had this, and I figured this would be a good one to use up because of the color, for one thing. Not that it really matters whether your backing is the same color as your front. Some people get particular about that. I don't really, because you know, you can't see the back and the front at the same time, can you? Well, unless you're holding it up like this. But you can see all my quilting on the back. I don't know how well you can see it, but the back looks pretty good. No tucks. I was very pleased with that. Again, as you know, I have started doing spray basting and pinning for my sandwich, and that's working out really, really well. Yes, it's a little time consuming, but nevertheless, it does work. And also, having said that, I have a new setup, which I showed you last week, in the way that I set up my tables and things, so I have lots of space and lots of support for the quilt as I'm doing it on my domestic machine. And that new setup, or that revised setup, is working really, really well. So right now, that setup is all set up out in my rec room as we speak, because I am quilting the Jenny Lane quilt. That's the one with all the houses on it. This one's going to take me some time. I've been experimenting on it. Well, I really should have a plan. I should really sit down, draw out on paper what I want to do. But I don't do that. I just start, and it goes wherever it goes. I don't suggest that's what you should do, unless you're an experienced quilter. I'm not suggesting I'm an experienced quilter when it comes to quilting, the actual quilting part of it, but it's my method, because I find that if I plan it all out in advance, I just get myself discouraged. So plunge in and just do. It'll be fine. I have finally come to that part. I think there's a mental block for all quilters when they get into this, that they're going to ruin their quilt when they start the quilting of it. You've spent all that time on the piecing, it looks beautiful, and then you're afraid you're going to screw it up. That's the way I felt anyways. I have broken that barrier. Now I look at it and go, you know, I've made well over 30, almost 40 probably quilts since I started quilting about 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago. And yeah, you know, they're sitting in a corner all folded up neatly or on a guest bed. I never look at them again, so what the heck? Why not consider each piece a practice piece? I mean, if I really screw it up that bad, I can always remake the quilt. I probably wouldn't, but I could do that. But it's the mindset that you have to get up in here, that you're not going to wreck it. And I heard somewhere, I think it was on a YouTube channel, that once you put the binding on the quilt, it looks great. Binding just finishes everything off. Now, I don't know if it's just psychological. You're done with the project. You're glad it's done. You know, done is better than perfect. And that you just look at it and think, yeah, you know, that doesn't look so bad. But anyways, it's I'm plunging into this Jenny Lane one. I mean, the houses, I started off actually with the Jenny Lane, doing some stitch in the ditch with my walking foot, and then my idea was I would do some ruler foot quilting, very simple linear lines and things, you know, the peaks of the houses. I was just going to go inside, around, you know, in triangle, echoing triangles and stuff like that, and maybe some horizontal and vertical lines in the house blocks and things like that. Well, I started doing that, and I think I would still be doing that quilt in a year's time. So I switched over to my free motion foot, and I'm doing the same thing I just explained using the ruler foot, except I'm doing it in free motion. And yes, my lines are crooked. They're a little wonky. And you want to know something? I think they kind of go with the whole house idea, because I think what the quilt's going to look like afterwards is sort of whimsical, sort of primitive, sort of childlike, in a coloring book kind of way. I don't know. That's the way my mind is going right now. And it's a lot faster if I don't have to keep switching out feet. So that's what I'm doing right now. I have one of the row of houses done, but I haven't filled in the negative space around them yet. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do with that. But I've decided, don't fight with it. Don't get uptight with it. Just do it. It will be fine. So that's my mindset now. And you know, it's like a whole weight is lifted off your shoulders. It's not like now I look at the quilt and go, oh, I got to get that done. Ooh, it's a chore. Now I'm looking at it as a fun, creative play experience. And you know, isn't that what quilting should really be? This is supposed to be fun. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Don't get so uptight about it. You know, and practice makes perfect, and I am finding I'm getting so much more comfortable with doing free motion quilting on my domestic machine now that I have my various setups all established and my routine for doing this. So yeah, I'm not looking at it as a chore now. I'm looking at it as something that's kind of fun and relaxing. And that, I think, is ultimately what all quilters want to strive for. Because if it isn't fun, if it isn't relaxing, why are we doing it? Really? So I will show you the results of that whenever that gets done. What else has been happening? Well, my 3D printer is on the blink. I've been screwing around with that for several days now. I've ordered some parts. I hope I have it figured out what the problem is. I'm just waiting for some parts to come that will fix the problem. But I feel lost without my 3D printer, because you know I do a lot of 3D printing. That's my other hobby. And you know, I make those pin cushions and things, and I'm working on a little Tudor village right now, Tudor style houses and things. And if you saw my vlog the other day, I did show you one of those little houses. Now that I have painted it, I'm pushing myself. That is something I am not good at, painting, but I think the little house came out pretty good. So, you know, you got to push yourself. You got to get over whatever barrier there is and just go for it. So worst case scenario, I can't fix the printer. It's got to be fixable, because there's not a heck of a lot to a 3D printer, really. I have learned an awful lot in the last week as I've been trying to fix this thing, about how it really does work, and it's really simple. It works like a giant glue gun. I mean, you put the filament in one end, it pushes it out, hits something hot, melts it, and the computer tells it where to lay it down. The most complex part of a 3D printer, in my opinion, is the computer programming. Well, that's not what I'm having a problem with. I'm having a problem with the mechanics. So if what I'm going to try next does not work to fix it, I'm going to buy a new one. Now the question comes to, will I buy the same one or will I buy something else? Well, I've been looking, and right now I'm leaning towards buying exactly the same one again, because the other ones I have seen, they lack some of the features this one has, and they're more expensive printers. So anyways, that's a discussion for a vlog rather than for the Idiot Quilter. But I just thought I'd let you know, since I do a lot of 3D printing for things related to quilting, that right now that part of my hobby life is down. Okay, now what else happened this week? Well, guess what? I finally got my batting from Dinky Doo. Yeah, it came last week, tail end of last week. Huge roll. Well, I knew it was going to be big, but it's big. It's a 30-yard roll of 120-inch wide batting. So that's a lot of batting. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with Dinky Doo. I have reviewed them on this channel before. They're a great company in terms of selection. Prices are okay. However, I have two bones to pick with that company, and one of them involves pre-orders. This batting that I ordered was a pre-order. I ordered it, or placed my order in April. It said it would not be shipping out until late June. Okay, that was upfront about it. Great. So I paid, I think it cost me about just over $400, which was a really good price. It was free shipping. So I think it was free shipping. Anyways, that included the shipping, whatever I paid. And I patiently waited for it. Well, June came and went, and there was no indication that that order was being fulfilled. And I always get a little worried when I do a pre-order. In fact, I try to avoid pre-orders as much as possible because I've had bad experiences in the past. They say it's going to be available and shipped to you at a certain time, and 6 months beyond that time you might see it, or worse. Believe it or not, I have had pre-orders before. Now, not so much in quilting, more in art supplies, crafting supplies, that it took a year. And it wasn't coming from Timbuktu. Those things were coming from California. Now, I did contact Dinky Doo, and I'll have to say this about them. The customer service was really good. They got right back to me. And I said, hi, it's the 1st of July kind of a thing. I see that my batting hasn't been shipped yet. Just wondering if you could give me an update on the status of that. And they did. They apologized and said they were having difficulty finding a driver in Texas. Now, I did not realize at the time, but I know this now. They were ordering it directly from the Hobbs batting factory, which is in Texas. So I learned something there. And they're having difficulty getting a driver. So I'm not sure what that was about, or whether that was COVID related or whatever. That didn't really give me a reassurance. And they said, well, we'll send you an email as soon as it's being shipped. But they didn't give me any kind of estimation as to when I might expect that. So I waited. And again, about a week and a half later, 2 weeks again, I sent another email just asking. I was very polite. I just asking what the status was, and this time I got an answer that they finally did find a driver, and that I should be getting an email from them telling it's been shipped within days. Well, it was another week or so, but anyways, it finally did come. And when it was shipped, and the Dinky Doo's out in BC and I'm in Ontario, it came relatively quickly. I think they shipped it by Canpar, which is a Canadian courier system. But the funny thing was, the day that I was supposed to get it, I'm kind of waiting around for it, and nobody rings my doorbell or anything. And for some reason, I missed, we have a Ring doorbell with a video camera in it, and it's hooked into our watches and our phones. And when somebody approaches our door, it will go off and tell me somebody's at my front door. But I never heard that for some reason. Well, I opened up my front door later in the afternoon that day, and there was this huge, long box sitting there. And luckily, I did check because it was about to rain and pour. And, you know, although in the box was my big roll of batting, and it was wrapped up in plastic, so it probably would have been okay. But nevertheless, I don't want batting out in the rain. You know, that stuff would just absorb water like... So anyways, I dragged it into the house and checked it all out. It was fine, got it unboxed. Then I had to figure out where I'm going to put it. Well, I have no room in this room for something like that. I thought I might be able, if I cleaned out some crap from underneath the table that's in front of me that you can't see, which is my cutting table, it might fit under there. No. Too long. Too long. So I did find a spot in my laundry room that it's in right now, but it's not the most convenient spot. Now, somebody told me that they get their batting that way as well, and they hooked it up into their rafters. I guess they have open rafters in a part of their house, which I do right above me here, because this is basically this is a workshop room, now sewing room kind of a thing. And they hung it up there on a bar, I guess, and pull off what they need like they're pulling off paper towels. And I thought, that's a brilliant idea. So I'm still trying to figure out how that's going to work in here with my setup. But I think it might. I've got Walter thinking about it too. And he can usually come up with a clever idea. So that would be kind of cool, I think, to do that. Well, we'll see. But I haven't opened the package yet because I still had batting that... Actually, I found batting that I forgot I had because it was underneath this table way in the back corner. So I've got batting yet for a few more quilts before I actually need to get into that one. So anyways, my love-hate relationship with Dinky Doo is... Oh, the other reason Dinky Doo does bother me is the frequency of their advertising. At one point, I was getting 3 ads a day from them on my email. I did go into their system and I found where I could adjust that, but and narrow it down to 1 a day. But I've noticed that they're creeping up again. So I find that extremely annoying. Yes, I know you're a business, you need to advertise, but you know, you're putting me off with the frequency of the advertising. I'm finding that with Missouri Star Quilt as well. They've gone to a new website, and I did place an order with them. I'm going to come to that in a minute. And same thing. I'm getting an advertisement from them every day. Every day. Now, I'm sure I can unsubscribe from that, and I just might. I know they're out there. But speaking of Missouri Star Quilt, okay. I love Missouri Star Quilt. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love Jenny Doan? Who doesn't love their tutorials on YouTube? It's on every quilter's wish list to go to Hamilton, Missouri to check out Missouri Star Quilt. Yeah, there's bus trips there a whole bit. Yes, but I don't order from them very often for one reason and one reason only. I have no idea when I'm going to get my order. No idea. Their shipping sucks. I don't know who they use. I actually wrote about a year or so ago, I ordered a couple of rulers from them. It took forever to get to me. I wrote to them about that, and I was trying to track the order. I did get a tracking number from them, and that makes me very happy when I get a tracking order from an online store. I was tracking it, and it went, I think it visited almost every state in the United States. Well, I exaggerate a little, but that's what it was like. And then it ended up, when it finally crossed the border, it went to Montreal. I don't live near Montreal. I live near Toronto. But there we go. And it sat in Montreal. It sat in New York. It was like it was out, you know, having a nice little trip, stopping in a few places, spending, you know, a couple of days there or whatever. I did write to them about that, and they said, yes, they knew there was a problem with it, and they were looking into other ways to alleviate that problem. I don't think they ever did at all. I think also they send it the cheapest way they possibly can, and their shipping is not terribly expensive, but it's not terribly inexpensive too. So I don't know. But anyways, all I know is it's the one reason I will only order from Missouri Star Quilt if it's something I can absolutely not get anywhere else at a reasonable price, or if they've got such a special on that, you know, I can't resist it. And that's why I made an order this time, because they had 3-yard fabrics on for, I forget what it was, but it was a really good price. Even when I figured in shipping and the exchange rate on our dollar, it was still better price than I could get anywhere in Canada. So that's why I placed that order, and I ordered a few other things. And finally, tail end of last week, it had been shipped. Now, it's coming by FedEx. I'm supposed to get it, I think, tomorrow. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, it's disappointing. And I think the biggest problem with Missouri Star Quilt is that they're so big. So very big. That I think they probably get hundreds and hundreds of orders every day. And yeah, okay, I get it. But it is annoying. So I only order from them, as I said, on a rare occasion. Okay, moving on to some demos. Okay, a question. I know a lot of people have sewing machines that will tell them when they're getting low on their bobbin thread. There's a sensor. They're on the more high-end machines. And my machine does that. But my embroidery machine does it as well. The thing with both of those machines is when it gets down to that, you have to replace the bobbin, put it in a new bobbin, because it's not going to sew anymore. Yet you have some thread left over on your bobbin, like right here, if you see this. I've got a fair amount of thread on there, like about, there might be 5–10% of the spool size left of thread. And I used to take these and just, you know, unwind them and toss the thread that was on it out. And I thought that was a bit of a waste, especially with my embroidery machine, because you get a lot of these generated because you go through a lot of thread. So I thought, well, I could just take these, save them, and when I'm working on my sewing machine, I'll just pop them in the sewing machine and use them up that way. And that's exactly what I do with them. And so I print it on my 3D printer, and I've shown this before. This is my little bobbin case, and I put all of those bobbins that still have some of the thread left on them that come out of my embroidery machine in here. And when I need more thread on my sewing machine, I reach in here first before I grab a brand new bobbin. So those of you that are worried about the wasting of thread, you might want to consider that if you can. Now you can turn the bobbin sensor off on those machines as well. I choose not to. I have it set to the very lowest when it'll go off, you know, the smallest amount that can be left on the spool. But you know, because you're playing bobbin chicken, right? With it. So I do like that feature, but it can be a bit of a waste. So this is the way I save on that waste. The other thing I want to show you is a new tool I got. It's been around for years, I'm sure. It's called the Kwik Klip. This little wooden handle with this little brass end on it that has some grooves in it. So you may ask, if you've never seen one of these before, what do you do with this? Well, because I am pin basting my quilts now, when you get in there and you're trying to close the safety pin, you've got your hand in there and you're wiggling it around, it's a little rough on your fingers. Now, if you've got arthritis in your hands, in your fingers, I can see how this could be literally a pain. And I know for the ladies out there who may have their nails manicured, I suppose pushing, closing, and unclosing safety pins basically, you know, wreaks havoc on your manicure. So this helps, and it works so effectively, and it's such a simple idea, but simple ideas are the best sometimes. All you do is when you stick your safety pin in, you just lay this down on top of your quilt right where the point of the pin comes out. The point of the pin rests on this clip, so it raises it up a little bit, and you just take your finger, push the head of the safety pins over to lock it. And bang, you're gone. Similarly, when you want to release the safety pin, you just put this underneath, raises it up, push the head, pop, off comes your safety pin. You can get really fast at using this, I found, within minutes of using it. I really like it. It works really, really well. So it's called the Kwik Klip. I think I ordered it from Amazon, of course. When don't I order from Amazon? And I'm not sure what it cost. It wasn't terribly expensive. I want to say it cost me about $18, but you know, it's worth every cent. I love it. It's my new favorite tool when it comes to basting a quilt. So the Kwik Klips, you might want to try it out. Okay, I am not sponsored by them, by the way. I'm not sponsored by anybody, by the way. But I'm open to the suggestion. If anybody would like to sponsor me, sure, fine. I'll try out equipment for free. Okay, so that takes me to Subscribers Quilt of the Week. This is one who's a regular viewer of the Idiot Quilter. You have seen some of her creations before, and she sent me some more, which is great. And what I'm going to show you is by Yvonne McNeil, and I'm going to insert that right in here for you. I'm using my watch to control my camera, and it's not cooperating. It figures. Oh, here we go. All right. I'm going to insert that video in here right now. This week's featured quilting comes from Yvonne McNeil. And Yvonne McNeil is a regular subscriber to the Idiot Quilter and has sent us, Rented Lips here, sent us some pictures before of her creations. And here are two more. And she says, "Hi Stephen, finished the table runner and placemats. Pillowcase style finish, and I did the quilting using a cardboard template to sew circles. They are all reversible, and I think the quilting shows up really well on the green side. Decided not to finish with binding." And they're both very, very lovely, very vibrant in their color, so I think they would be really nice on a table in the summertime, the springtime. Brings a freshness into your home decor. So both are really excellent, and what a clever idea to use a cardboard template for the quilting. So thanks, Yvonne. These are great as always. So if you'd like to send me some pictures of your quilts, because I am running out, or any other creations you've made, please do so. Contact information is in the show notes below. Just send it to my email with 1 or 2 pictures and a blurb about them, and I will feature them here. As you know, please, I'm running out. And speaking of projects, before I go any further, because I forgot to talk about this a few minutes ago, I have also been working on my Christmas embroidery. And you know, I'm making those gnome Christmas table toppers. Well, I'm also making some out of another pattern, which I call more elegant type of design. So this is one. I have 3 out of 4 of these done at the moment, and these will become table toppers too. And I have some really nice Christmas fabric that will go with this. This is Christmas fabric as well, believe it or not, the black with the silver on it and the swirls. You don't think of black as a Christmas color, but I really wanted to put black in behind these because I think it makes the design pop. So I am working on those as well. And once I get the Jenny Lane quilt finished, I'm going to put more of my effort into getting these table toppers and my Christmas sewing more up to speed, because we're about to move into August, and that's only what, 5 months to Christmas. It goes by quickly for sure. So back to what's in the show notes. There is a link, a Zoom link for this month's Craft and Chat. I just mentioned that we're going into August, coming this weekend. So we always do Craft and Chat on the first Wednesday of every month, as you know. And so that's August the 4th, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for about 3 hours. We run until about 4 o'clock. It's a chance for you to come. Bring whatever you're working on. It doesn't matter whether it's sewing or paper crafting, or if you're making a shopping list, join us. It doesn't matter, whatever. It's an opportunity for you to, grab a coffee, grab some work you want to get done, and have some time to do that and to relax and to enjoy some friendly conversation. Always learn something from the conversation, I find. People are a wealth of knowledge about all kinds of things, and it puts me in such a good mood. And I always say to Walter afterwards, you know, I always think to myself, just before we go live on Craft and Chat, little slip there, on Craft and Chat, I think, oh, I've got to do that today. I don't know why I have that feeling, but when I'm there and I'm into it, and afterwards I go to Walter, that was fun, wasn't it? And Walter usually joins in as well. There's not a lot of us, rented lips, but we have a good time. There's some regulars that come. That's great. But I would love to have more people join. The more, the merrier. It costs you nothing. If you've got the time to do it, just click on the link that day on August the 4th, and you're in. Simple as that. Nothing more to it. And we have a good time. So, hope to see you there. Okay. So what else is there? There's the latest episode of So Chatty. That one we talked about. This was a suggestion from one of the viewers that we talk about projects that we would like to do in the future and ones that we will never attempt again. And that's what we talked about. Now, at first when I saw that topic come up, I could think of quite a few things I want to do, but I thought that maybe Walter would struggle. Turns out he did not. He's got lots of things he wants to do too. So we talk about those projects. So that's on the latest So Chatty. Now, we're running out of topics for So Chatty, and we're only 18 episodes into it. So what I would ask is, if you are a follower of So Chatty, and if you're not, you should be, please send me some suggestions of things that we can build a session around. That would be very, very helpful. What would you like to see? Now, of course, we cannot do full-fledged tutorials on things, okay? So, I mean, don't suggest that maybe Walter do a whole thing on how to make a shirt. By the way, the shirt I'm wearing today, this is one of Walter's latest creations, and I love it. I love it. Yeah, so he's not going to be able to do a full-fledged tutorial on making shirts on an episode of So Chatty, and neither can I on doing a quilt, of course. But, you know, if there's something else you want to know about, and you think we can help you with it, or even just general topics you think would be interesting to discuss and get our take on it, please send those suggestions to me. Email is in the show notes. There is a link to the pattern for this week I'm going to talk about in a minute. And there are links. Oh, there is a link to Idiot Quilter Presents. And this is Adrienne Bennett. Fascinating interview with a fascinating lady. She makes hats. She's a milliner. And they are works of art. So you've got to check her out, and I'm going to put a little teaser in shortly in here so you'll get a flavor for it. But I just put that up a few minutes ago onto YouTube before I started recording this, so do check it out. Now that brings me to another. I need people to interview. I'm out. Adrienne was my last one. So if you are enjoying the Idiot Quilter Presents, why not let me interview you? Yes, you. Don't ever think you're not an exciting and interesting person. Every person on the face of this planet is unique and is interesting. And I want to see what you're doing. I want to talk to you about your creative journey. So please, please, I beg you, send me an email and tell me you're interested, and I'll send you all the details and we'll get it set up. Yes. Did I say I'm begging you? I am begging you. Okay. So then there's also in the show notes a whole list of our favorite places to get our supplies. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube channel of the week. Now you may be familiar with this lady. She's from Australia. She's a very well-known quilter. She usually does art quilts. They're gorgeous. Her name is Lisa Walton, and her YouTube channel is called Lisa Walton Artist, and she does a lot of interviews with other prominent quilters. Some you may know, some you may never have heard of before, but should hear about them. But, well, I've done a review of the channel, so let's watch it. This week's YouTube channel of the week is called Lisa Walton Artist, and this is a lady from Australia, and she is a very accomplished quilt maker, and she does a lot of art style quilts. And the thing I like about her particular channel is that she does interviews with people who are very prominent in the quilting community, and they're very interesting people. They truly are artists. And you can see that she has a whole list of various topics on here. Quilt Stories is the section she uses for interviewing people. She also has some tutorials, online learning with Lisa Walton. Now, she does have classes that you pay for, but she gives you a preview of what's involved in that class. She also has different workshops in textiles, and she often shows her own quilts as well and explains the process that she went through for creating these quilts. So I find her website very inspiring, very interesting. I always like to know about the artistic process that art quilters go through. So if you're interested in that kind of information, then you should check out Lisa Walton Artist. So really do check out that YouTube channel because it's very informative and very interesting. And what I like about the interviews is I learn about the process that a quilt artist goes through for their creations, which I find the process fascinating. Okay, so something else that has piqued my interest, another pattern for this week. This one is for a project bag, a very simple project. I think you can knock this one off in a couple of hours or less, and it's called the Peacekeeper bag. I think the pun is on the word peace. This is a bag by Annie, and this is a free pattern, and you can go to the By Annie website and download this. Now this particular one, I think I paid for this one. I paid $2.49, but not from Annie. I got it from another site, and I think it's free. It may not be free on the By Annie, but she also has an accompanying video that is free to go with this. So I think this will be very handy. I have a whole lot, of patterns for making different bags and things like that. And my idea is that eventually things like this will fit into larger bags, which will fit into a larger bag. And if I go on a retreat or a class, I can pack all this stuff up into one bag. Mind you, it will be heavy. And it'll have everything at my fingertips sort of thing and well organized. That's my plan. We'll see. To date, I haven't made any of these bags. But I know the By Annie patterns are very easy to follow. They're very detailed, and they always have an accompanying video to go with them, which helps a great deal. So that's a project on my vision board that I will get to eventually. Okay, you're probably tired of me saying that. I have all these projects I'll get to eventually. Yeah, I know. But, as a quilter, we get working on one project, then we see something else and go, ooh, I got to do that too. And then, yeah, it just piles up from there, doesn't it? Okay, so that takes me to the Idiot Quilter Presents, and I already mentioned Adrienne Bennett, the millionaire. And so I'm going to insert right here for you a little teaser video. So, let's take a look right now before I ask you the next question at some of your creations.
Okay, sure. This hat I'm very proud of. This is the first hat I ever made out of cineme.
That's amazing.
Cineme is like a fabric, and there's many, many steps to making this hat. And I had a book that just had photographs in it that I had bought from an British company on how to do this. And so I ended up making it, and I thought I did a really good job for just looking at a book. So I'm very proud of this hat.
That looks like something Queen Elizabeth would wear.
Yes, it's definitely an ascot type of hat, because that's that's why they make these fancy hats, right?
And I know I've said this just a few minutes ago, but please, please, that's my last interview. I need more people to interview. So think about it seriously. Okay, that takes me to Critical Me, my quilt this week that I'm going to basically cut up. And this is one that I did over a period of a year. It was from Dime, Designs in Machine Embroidery Company. They had and they do it now as well. They have sort of a pattern, sort of like a block of a month kind of thing, but it's usually around a theme. This one was about doors, and it is a in the hoop machine embroidery applique kind of thing. So I was pleased with the end result, but there were some problems along the way, and I will discuss those in this little video clip. This week's quilt that I'm going to critique is one that I made over the course of about a year. And this was something that was put out by Dime. Dime is Designs in Machines Embroidery. That's what I want to say. And they had these free downloadable in the hoop applique patterns, one for each month, sort of like a row by row kind of a thing, or block of the month kind of club, that you downloaded for free, and you did them on your embroidery machine. And of course, you know I'm very much into machine embroidery, so this appealed to me. So the idea behind each one of these is that you would have a finished 5x7 panel that you could display in a special sort of hanging system that you could also buy from Dime. And you would switch these out each month, given as part of your home decor. Well, I'm not really into that kind of thing, but I thought it might make an interesting wall hanging. So after I got all of the doors done, as I said, there was one for every month, so it was 12 months worth. I put them all together in what you see here. Now, there were some problems with this. First of all, I would never do one of these again, not from Dime. Is this a criticism of Dime? I'm sorry, but it is, because I found their instructions very confusing, and the files that you downloaded from them were not complete. There were parts left out, or there were parts that ran together, and if you weren't really careful in watching what was going on every step of the way, you would screw it up. Now, I really don't recommend something like this for a rank beginner. But as it was, even though I've had a lot of experience doing this kind of thing, there were a couple of the doors that I had to redo. The end product was kind of worth it. I like it. I have it hanging up on my wall, going down my stairs into my rec room, and it looks really nice there. But as I said, I would make another one again. Not because of the time involved. I would not do this kind of thing from Dime, because I just found that their patterns were carelessly written, in my experience. Now, I'm sure there's people out there that are going to argue with me. They've had great luck with Dime products, and that's fine. Maybe this was just my impression from this project, but it's enough to keep me away from future ones. I think they're doing one this year that involves houses or something like that. I'm not sure what the pattern is, and I'm not interested. But anyways, I do like the final product. There wasn't much room to do any kind of quilting on it. I did do quilting in the borders and in the sashing, and I just kept it very simple, so that, you know, the doors themselves would show up well. So yeah, it's one of my more interesting pieces. You know, it's something a little different from doing a quilt, and it makes a nice small wall hanging. Okay, so that takes me to this week's review of a quilt shop, an online one. This one is online and is a physical store, and I have been to it many times because it's in my area, and I have talked about this one before, but not in as much detail as I'm going to discuss today. But it's known as Annie's Quilt Shop. It's in a quaint setup or location. Looks like an old western town. It's actually more or less used as a movie set kind of a thing, but her quilt store is right in the center of this. And, well, why do I need to go on about it now? I made a video, of course I did, to show you. This week's quilt shop is one that's in my area and I have been to many times before, and it's called Annie's Quilt Shop. And only recently had she put up a website. But I love visiting this store because she has quite a variety of fabrics, and it's a very, very tiny store. And it's set in a very unique location. It's a little western looking town. It's not a full town, it's more facades, but they do a lot of, and there you can see a picture of it coming up on the screen, they do a lot of filming here for television shows and movies and things like that as well. So it's kind of interesting to visit it. So let's take a look at what she has on her website. So right off the bat, we have a rolling banner system here announcing different things about her stock. And let's just go down and take a look. So she's got see our new arrivals. Now, prices on her fabric are about $20 a meter in Canadian funds, and that's right now about average, I would say. She does list things by half meters on here, so be careful. You see $10 Canadian on here, but that's for half a meter. So she has all her new arrivals on here. Now, let's check out our story. And she says, Anne started quilting at a young age with her grandma, who lived with her and the family on their dairy farm in Starkville. Anne always loved to quilt, but never had the opportunity to stick with it until 2009, when her daughter Ashley, with a few friends, decided to take a one-day course. Anne was hooked to quilting all over again. In 2013, Ashley, who worked healthcare for 16 years with a background in design, set sail on this wonderful adventure with her mom, Anne. Anne joined Ashley in the shop after retiring from her 40-year automotive career in 2018. 7 years later, and we are still going strong in our quaint little shop nestled in the unique Western-themed village called Dockville. I have met both Anne and her daughter. They're both very, very lovely people and extremely helpful and very, very friendly. So the atmosphere of the actual store is one that's very pleasant. And right with the way she has this website set up, I think you get a flavor for that friendliness as well. So let's go to her online store. And something is popping up here. Nope, there we go. Choose and click below the category you're looking for. So she has all of her fabrics and categories. You can look at everything at once if you wish. Or there's brands, new arrivals, novelty, basics, blenders, brushed cottons and wovens, flannels, pre-orders and seasonal, clearance, book and patterns, thread, notions and tools, kits and pre-cuts, and miscellaneous yarn. So let's just take another look at her fabrics here, and let's just go into, say, brands, because we've already checked out new arrivals. And what does she have for brands of fabric? She has Hoffman, Michael Miller, Three Wishes. I love Three Wishes fabrics. Maywood Studios, Riley Blake, Henry Glass, Moda, Camelot, Clothworks, Northcott, Nathan and Company, Cotton and Steel, Ruby Star Society. So she has a fairly good selection. Now, if we go back and take a look at all categories, I just want to see here what that entails. So she has different collections shown here. So let's just pick one at random. This one, for example. I do not know this particular brand name. And let's see what she has arriving. Well, these are all new arrivals, so it must be a new line that she's getting. Now, you do want to check back here on a regular basis because she does keep her website up to date fairly well. Okay, so let's go back to something else. We know what the fabric is. Let's check out something else here. Let's take a look at seasonal. because I was in there recently and I bought some Christmas fabrics, and she had a fairly good selection of Christmas fabrics at that time. And that was a couple of weeks ago, and this is July, so they're coming in. Yeah, she shows what she has here. Now, I'm pretty sure that she's getting in the latest ones as well, and probably some are left over from last year, because when I was in the store, she told me she had all kinds of bolts that I could look at if I wished that had just come in and were still wrapped up. Okay, so let's look at kits and pre-cuts, because of course I love pre-cuts. And what does she have? Let's check out kits first and see what kind of selection she has there. Oh, I don't know where that happened. There we go. There's a pre-order Mountainside Quilt Kit. Gnome is where the garden grows. Ooh, you know how I'm into gnomes lately. Flea market window box. So just quickly glancing down, not a lot of selection, but some interesting ones. So let's go back and take a look at jelly rolls and see what we have to choose from here. So she has some Christmas ones, some basics. She has a fair number of jelly rolls on here, and the prices vary, and I don't think any of the prices are out of the way. Okay, and what else did she have? Fat quarter bundles. Let's take a look at those. And I have bought some fat quarter bundles and jelly rolls from her in the past as well. That's kind of interesting. Yuletide. So you see, she does have a lot to choose from in Christmas fabrics, both in fabric and in pre-cuts up online, which is interesting because a lot of places don't, even though it's July right now. Ooh, that's a pretty bundle. Okay, no, hold myself back here. But yeah, she's got a good selection. And there's even more, it says. So let's load up more. Yeah, she has quite a few to choose from, so that's good. Okay, let's go to let's go, she's got flannels. Let's check out her thread, see what she's offering. I think she does Aurifil. Yes, she does. And King Tut thread. That's interesting because King Tut is not one that you can find a lot online that I have found in my experience. And let's just take a look at her prices. So 500 yards, $15.99, 40 weight. And she has a good selection. And $15.99 for King Tut? Yeah, I've seen it for more. I haven't seen it for a lot less than that. And let's go back and check out her Aurifil because that's the one I'm most familiar with. And see what her price is on Aurifil. $15.99. Yeah, that's about standard price for a spool. These look like they are probably 1,000 meters. So yeah, that's good too. So books and patterns. What do we have here? Okay. She has some designer name patterns. Let's take a look at her books, see what kind of selection she has. Do people still buy books, or do they just go online and download things in electronic format? I'm not sure. I'm sure there are some people that are still buying books. I kind of stay away from them. Yeah, she doesn't have a huge selection of books, but they're there for those that want books. Let's take a look at patterns and see what we have for a selection here. And not bad. And there are more. Well, it's a fairly good selection, and there's more. I won't go into those. So that's all right. And prices, oh, that one of the gnomes is cute. That is cute, but it's applique. Well, that's okay. I can do applique. Let's take a look at Notion's and rulers. I know in her store she has a fairly good selection of these products. And yeah, zipper pulls, zippers, and what else do we have? Rotary cutters, machine needles. Yeah, she's got everything pretty much. And quick look at the prices, pretty much standard. She does have a clearance section. I always like to check out the clearance section, and I have bought things from her clearance section before and got some really good deals. So what do we have on here? This is nice. When something's out of stock, it says it's out of stock. None of this going to your cart after you've got it filled and checking out and finding out that some of the things they don't have in stock. She's got a lot of stuff that's out of stock, so I think these things get snapped up pretty quick. Okay, let's see if we can find out about her shipping. And I don't know. Now, I'm not sure where I'm going to find out about her shipping. Let's go down to the bottom of the page. She's open Tuesday to Saturday, 9 to 3 p.m. No appointment needed. Her address. I don't see anything about shipping. This is interesting. Now, because she's in my area, I do not bother to buy any of her stuff online. I just go right into the store. She has a contact form. But again, I'm not finding anything about her shipping. So you may have to... This is annoying. I don't know if it's my computer or what. But I really don't like this setup right here. But it could be my computer. Okay, that doesn't tell me anything. Let's go to the home. She has a newsletter. Still, nothing about shipping. Okay. Last ditch effort here. See if I can find it in the search. Well, took me to all products. Store policy. Oh, okay. Here's something. What did they say? So here's the details below. Our shipping policy. Thank you for shopping Annie's Quilt Shop. We ship all orders directly from our store within 24 to 48 hours for your convenience. Orders shipped to Canada should arrive within 7 to 10 business days. U.S. orders can take slightly longer. So, oh yeah, so here we go, shipping costs. So if you buy up to $15 worth, it's $6.50 Canadian. Up to $50, $12.50. $115 and $219.50. $201 and up. Free shipping to a maximum of $40 in shipping costs. We'll notify you first if shipping will be more than $40. Okay, and that seems to be the trend now I'm finding on most websites for quilt stores. They have a limit to how much they will cover in free shipping, and after that you pay the difference. Probably because shipping rates have gone up quite a bit during COVID, and yeah. So it looks like your shipping costs are those based on the Canadian mail system. And in the States, she's got a listing there as well. So, yeah, overall, I really like Annie's Quilt Shop. It's really an adventure to go and visit her small store because of its setting. But the customer service is great. They're very, very friendly, very welcoming. And as I said, I have no idea what it's like to order something from them because I live so close. But if the service I get in the store is any kind of indication, I think getting things shipped to you from them, it'll still be a good experience. So that's Annie's Quilt Shop, and I have the link in the show notes below. So that brings me to the end of this episode of the Idiot Quilter, and some final thoughts. I don't have any, except that once again, please send me pictures of your creations so I can feature them here. And please really do consider being interviewed. Okay, I've gone on those things enough, and that's my time for today. So thank you so much for joining me. Remember, August the 4th, Craft and Chat. I hope you can join us, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, I hope you have a great week. I hope you are happy in your sewing room or your craft room. I hope you're making something that makes you feel good. And we'll see you next week. Bye for now.